Procrastination, the act of postponing or delaying something. But for the manager with a continuous flow of incoming decision-making points, that doesn't really describe it. Intellectual constipation might be a better way to describe the pressure that's going to build if you don't start making decisions. One of the biggest problems that new managers have is making decisions. They procrastinate something chronic over what's the right decision, and also they sort of take it upon themselves that they have to control the whole process, and therefore they tend to back up decisions behind them, and the pressure tends to mount, and it becomes one of the things that really drives their early careers as managers into the ground mostly. It's a little bit like, traffic backing up at Heathrow on a foggy day. If you don't keep making decisions, you're in trouble. Here is 5 easy steps, very simple steps, to not only get you making decisions and making decisions the way you should be, but to get your team involved and to function better as a manager, as well as a decision maker. So, the 5 steps are: gather information, analyze what your options are, evaluate and decide, take action, and review. So the first one in particular trips up new managers. They have this concept coming from when they were doers that they had to do it themselves. They have to do all of these steps themselves, but actually the first one, gather the information, what's going on, and what could possibly be our options. That's the sort of thing you can delegate. You can get your team involved in, and getting your team involved in brings about a whole lot more than just freeing up some time. So it only takes you a few minutes to delegate and assign some people to sort stuff out, and you can move on to the next thing and come back to the next phase when they're finished. So it frees you up, but also it gives you an opportunity to encourage your team to become part of it and to know that they're being listened to and to engage, to mentor and coach. Now don't get me wrong, this is a very effective way of getting team involvement and also building skills and developing your team to do the things that you need them to do, to move forward and grow and become stronger as a team. You're not trying to stand as an individual when you're a manager. You're actually trying to stand, metaphorically I guess, on the shoulders of other people doing great things. And you need to inspire that, coach that, and get them going. You need to be around. You need to get them gathering the information and making the right assessments and helping them along the way. In particular, get them to focus on the solution, the future, not the problem so much. But that's mentoring, that's coaching. Delegate. First thing, get that off your plate, but delegate it in a specific way. And that way would be SMART. S-M-A-R-T. Specific, measurable, assignable, realistic, and timely. So give it to somebody, give them a specific time frame when they need to go back with great directions about what you need, not just what is the information you need to gather, but what are the potential options for the next phase, for the next step in the decision-making process. So the next step is identifying your options once you've gathered all the information. You need to do this with an open mind. Your first cut shouldn't really be a cut. It should bring together everything that you're going to do. So your first cut is fairly important. And it's also very important, if you've delegated this, you come in for fresh and you help with that first cut. You help deciding where you're going to go, and you help deciding with the decision-making process without being involved. Hopefully now you've got a whole lot of team members that are involved and invested in the different options. And we'll fight for those and have a lot of ways of justifying and arguing for or against those. You need to come in and arbitrate. Now for the analyze the choices phase, you want to get your team involved, and you want to get all of your team involved. You may have worked with individual groups for the individual options to explore and see what's happening, and that's the best way to do it, by the way. Split your team up and give them something that they can dive into and chase without being in competition with anybody else. Let them become the champions of whatever it is you've assigned them to, and then bring them together, whether it's over a desk, in a room, in a meeting, whatever it is, and run through the options and work as an arbitrator. Let them debate amongst themselves in front of you which option is the best and arbitrate. This helps your team work as a team, and it helps them see that everybody's been listened to, but more importantly, it helps them chase something and have ownership and responsibility of it. We've gone through gathering the information, assessing the options, and we're at choose one of those options. So make a choice. Remember, you've had your team gather the information, bring about the options, and they've been part of the process of debating what the best option is for you to choose. But ultimately you choose. You're the manager. It's your decision, your responsibility, you own it. And the thing you need to get about this is if you're going to grow a team and get them to charge behind you, that if that is the wrong choice for some reason, if something goes wrong and it fails, it was yours. You own it and nobody else. However, if it was a complete success, it belongs to them and they should get all the credit for it. It's only fair they did all the work, but that's actually what a manager is all about. Bringing the best out of people, driving it forward. So the last thing you need to do is actually go back and assess if your decision was a good one, if it worked for you, if it brought the results that you wanted, and if you need to tweak it in any way or change it in any way. But more importantly, was it a success or was it a failure? And remember, you own one of those, but your team owns the other one. Rather than having procrastination, or is that intellectual constipation? Either way, make decisions. First thing you do when you have a problem, assign some people to gather the information and come up with options. Make sure you've got at least one person for every option that needs to be explored. If one person comes up with more than one, divide it if you can. If you can't, run with that. So you end up with champions. First part. That'll take you all of 5 minutes. Shouldn't take you any longer. Move on with your life, onto other things and other decisions. Then the next thing you want to do is gather back and find out what the information was and what your options were. Debate at that stage what they should be. And there can be a delay. You can do that as 2 phases if you need to assimilate some of that information. But then have a debate and let your team argue what should be the best. Ultimately, you make a decision and make sure that it's your decision. So this next meeting, if it's something that you haven't had to ingest, is again going to take you 10 minutes, 30 minutes max if it's a really difficult one. You've already got all the information, all you've really got to go is, this is what we need to do. And that's based on your team's recommendations. If they're not coming up with the stuff that you think you need in there, make sure you inject it. Get somebody on that page, but let them fight it for you. 5 minutes to assign it, 5 to 30 minutes to assess it and make a decision. And then you've got somebody that you can actually assign to take the task and do whatever it is that needs to be done, because they're the ones that have championed that particular idea forward. So you're done. Next decision. Stop procrastinating. Start working with your team and growing them. Give them a chance to drive. Move forward. No constipation involved.